Next on the news, we'll take you inside a new program promoting Catholic values of leadership and sportsmanship in all 15 high schools within the Diocese of Brooklyn. It's not too late to be a part of the National Eucharistic Pilgrimage. We have all the details for anyone in the diocese, including meeting points and routes. Organizers of the city's annual Salute to Israel parade say this year's celebration will go on. Despite recent and sometimes violent anti-Semitic demonstrations on college campuses across the city against the war in the Middle East. Plus, Pope Francis has chosen a theme for this year's World Day for Grandparents and the Elderly. The theme is from Psalm 71, "Do not cast me off in my old age." I'm Katie Vasquez. Currents News starts right now. A new program in Catholic schools focuses on how an athlete acts on and off the field. 15 high schools across the diocese committed to being part of Captain's Club. The goal is to instill Catholic values in students who are competing in sports. I spoke with one of the captains selected for St. John's Prep in Queens. In the halls of St. John's Prep, Julian Krughiger stands out. Always willing to help others and be supportive.
I'm a very outgoing person, so I could talk to anyone. I'm a social butterfly.
He brings that same energy to the field as a varsity baseball player. The outfielder selected as one of the 2 seniors to represent the Queens School as part of Captain's Club.
It was an honor to be chosen for that by my school.
The program, which is sponsored by the Diocese of Brooklyn Catholic High School Principals Association, started this year to remind athletes of Catholic values, sportsmanship, and leadership.
We felt that just bringing them together, understanding community, understanding that prayer plays a big role, understanding that winning was not the priority, but being a team, on and off.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Julian believes bringing prayer back to the sport has been beneficial.
I always go to God, so just relying on Him and bringing Him back into the sports, it was very key just for us as a team in general.
His teammates say he was the perfect pick for the school.
He's a great leader. He's always one of those guys where if he comes off the bench in baseball, he'll deliver. He'll always be social with someone.
He's just a good, funny kid. Very smart, intelligent. On the field, he's a leader, vocal, very good teammate. Need him on the team.
Even though he will graduate this year, he is happy that he was able to serve a higher purpose in his final year.
I know, for me at least, if I had a teammate that cared and just lifted me up all the time, that's the person I want to be. Members of the club also meet once a month on Zoom to discuss how to be better leaders. Next year, the Catholic High School Athletic Association plans to use a video service to instruct coaches on the values that must be implemented within the teams to improve players' faith. The National Eucharistic Pilgrimage is kicking off soon, and we're finding out how you can join the journey right here in New York City. The easiest spot to meet up with the pilgrims in Manhattan is at St. Patrick's Cathedral. They'll be at the landmark cathedral at 10 a.m. on Sunday, May 26th. From there, they'll eventually make their way to the Brooklyn Bridge, where the journey will be passed off into the Diocese of Brooklyn. The procession will head to the Co-Cathedral of St. Joseph for adoration and exposition of the Blessed Sacrament, before another full day of stops throughout the diocese. Beyond Brooklyn, the pilgrim will travel through New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Ohio, and eventually end up in Indianapolis for the National Congress. This is one of 4 routes traveling from 4 corners of the country to the Congress. The pilgrims will be traveling 6,500 miles and passing through 65 dioceses in the 60 days leading to the Indianapolis event. The National Pilgrim Virgin Statue of Fatima is also making the journey to Indianapolis. It is paving the way with prayer and reparation to bring back loved ones who have left the church. She will not intersect with the walking pilgrims, but she will make stops this weekend in the diocese at parishes in Flushing, St. Michael's, St. Kevin's, St. Paul John Hassan, St. John Vianney, and St. Josephat. She will also be at Sacred Heart in Bayside.
Our apostolate has been bringing these statues around the country and the international around the world since 1947 it's largely how the Fatima message got spread after World War II was because of our apostolate. And so these statue tours to various parishes in dioceses with the approval of the bishops are very important to us in helping us spread the message of Fatima in the modern world. The Fatima message at the foundation is about the Eucharist.
The statue was blessed by Pope Paul VI in 1967 and was crowned and blessed again by Cardinal O'Connor in New York and has been traveling around the United States ever since. Joining us now with more on the Eucharistic revival is the national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux, John Lavenberg. Hi, John.
Hi, Katie.
So what can Catholics in the Diocese of Brooklyn expect when the pilgrimage makes its way through the diocese?
So nationwide, it's expected by those that organize the pilgrimage that as many as 100,000 people could join the various routes. So for the route that eventually gets to the Diocese of Brooklyn, that could mean thousands of people will be here at one time. And, you know, of course, Cardinal Timothy Dolan and Bishop Robert Brennan will each have a role in the procession at different points. And as Bishop Brennan said at the Diocesan Eucharistic Revival, there's a beauty in having thousands of people coming together in the name of the faith. So that's something that can also be expected for this pilgrimage when thousands are coming together again.
And can anyone join the pilgrimage? Is there anything they need to do ahead of time?
So there are specific events that need to be registered for, but in general, the procession will happen through the streets of the Diocese of Brooklyn, and anyone is free to come out of their homes and join at the various stops along the way.
And Pope Francis has granted plenary indulgence for anyone who participates in the National Eucharistic Pilgrimage. So what does that mean?
Yeah, so plenary indulgence is a Catholic practice that removes temporal punishment for sins that have already been forgiven. So it's a big deal that Pope Francis granted this for those that participate in the National Eucharistic Pilgrimage, and that's something that the U.S. bishops expressed when they thanked Pope Francis for granting this plenary indulgence.
All right, lots of great information there. John Lavenberg, national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Katie.
And to learn more about all things related to National Eucharistic Pilgrimage and Congress, just go to eucharisticrevival.org. And remember to stay with John Lavenberg and the Tablet for comprehensive coverage at thetablet.org. You don't want to miss anything. It's the first National Eucharistic Congress in nearly 90 years. Pope Francis blessed a bell called the Voice of the Unborn, which will head to Kazakhstan. The Holy Father rang the bell with two children from Poland, where the first bell was cast. It has the fifth commandment, thou shalt not kill, as well as the words, the child's life begins under the mother's heart, written across it. The first bell was cast in Poland back in 2020. Additional bells were created in 2022 for Ukraine and Ecuador, as well as another for Zambia in 2023. The state of New York will be offering help for moms and families. Governor Kathy Hochul announced that starting next year, all employees in the state will get 20 hours of paid prenatal personal leave. The new mandate is aimed at preventing maternal and infant deaths. The 20 hours can be used for medical appointments during or related to pregnancy. Organizers of the city's annual Salute to Israel parade say this year's celebration will go on. The decision comes in the wake of recent and sometimes violent anti-Semitic demonstrations on college campuses across the city against the war in the Middle East. The event is scheduled for June 2nd. The NYPD plans to beef up patrols and deploy more than the usual 700 officers along the route. Pope Francis is preparing for the 4th World Day for Grandparents and the Elderly. The Holy Father has chosen the theme for the day, which is Do Not Cast Me Off in My Old Age, taken from Psalm 71. Pope Francis recognizes the situation of many elderly people today and assures them God never abandons his children, ever. The Pope referred to the elderly as the firm foundation on which new stones can rest in order to join in erecting a spiritual edifice. The 4th World Day for Grandparents and the Elderly will be celebrated on July 28th. And before we go, do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number 718-517-3122. That is this Currents News Update. I'm Katie Vasquez. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.